Hey everybody, Tom Zenner, Jetset TV, welcome. This is a special episode that we've got today, a fantastic interview. There's a big event happening here in Scottsdale. That's where we're at. I want to introduce you to a legend in the aviation business. You recognize his face, Kenn Ricci, chairman of Flexjet, here today because you had a big groundbreaking, Ken. But first of all, man, this is a pleasure. Why don't you tell everybody where we're doing this interview? Because this is not a normal TV studio or a set or outside at 105 degrees. Tell us.
You know, it's actually very fulfilling to be here. We're on a Gulfstream G650, which, as we speak today, is the top of the fleet. This is one of our key aircraft. We have 26 of them. They travel internationally. You can get these airplanes anywhere between Honolulu and Dubai. That's our service area today. But we do have a new airplane planned later in the year. But these are special to me. It took a long time to get here. I am a Gulfstream pilot. I have about 4,000 hours in them, and I'm very partial to this aircraft and to Gulfstreams.
I would imagine Scottsdale was an important market for you guys to be in, having a facility here. You're at Teterboro, Van Nuys. You're in.
Well, we'll be at with this facility. Yeah. We'll be 8 of our top 10 facilities. We'll have our own terminal at.
And I could tell just from the renderings of this project that you broke the ground on today. Everything is so classy. It's so beautiful. There's no detail that goes unnoticed. It's almost like you want to project this inviting, atmosphere for people that can afford to fly this way. So is that part of the strategy to make your facilities and everything you do seem just over the top opulent and beautiful?
So when we finally got our sea legs, and I would tell you that was 2014-15. That was after we integrated Flexjet. It was once we decertified the pilots, we now had the infrastructure we needed. And we thought, where is the opportunity in fractional? And many people were looking at it as economical. We have a better product for a lower cost. And we went the other way. We said we're going to have the best product for the highest cost. And so, like this airplane today, we have these very unique interiors. Every plane is bespoke. It has a unique product. When you go to a fine hotel, you don't get the gray room or the beige room. You get something that's bespoke. So we purposely tried to position Flexjet at the high end of the market. We're the most expensive. When you go to Augusta, you don't say, I want the cheap round of golf. You want the experience. And so this has to be experiential, and that's the space that we want to own.
Did you go into the Air Force because you could become a pilot and, hey, get the lessons from the Air Force, or did you become interested in being a pilot because you were in the Air Force?
Well, it actually was more basic than that. I wouldn't have gone to college without the Air Force because I couldn't have afforded it. It was my form of financial aid, and I actually went in just post after the Vietnam War had ended. So at this time, the military was not popular like it was today. And a funny story, I kind of realized I wasn't going to go to college without being able to have financial aid. And so I was visiting Notre Dame, which is where I went, and they have a large ROTC program. And I decided that, well, the Navy sounded like a sexy place to fly. They have these big aircraft carriers. So it's a Saturday, and I'm trying to find the phone number. There were no cell phones, and I'm trying to find the phone number. I'm looking in a window at the ROTC building to try to read the Navy ROTC number, and someone taps me on the back, and they said, "Could I help you?" And I said, "Yes, sir. I'm an incoming freshman, and I think I'd like to be a pilot. I'm trying to join the Navy." And their ROTC, he looks at me and he says, "Are you sure you've been admitted to Notre Dame? Because the Air Force has planes, the Navy has ships." And he says to me, "I'm Colonel Muller, I'm head of the Air Force ROTC, and I'm in the Air Force."
It's been an incredible year for Flexjet, 2025. I mean, if you just look at the press releases and seeing what you've accomplished already. When you started this, did you have the vision to think, okay, there is an affluent crowd out there that's always going to need private aviation. You know the markets, you know the airline industry, because you actually work for Northwest Orient too as well. So was there any thought in your wildest dreams that Flexjet could turn into this?
You know what? No. I'd like to say, oh my gosh, I had this all figured out. I foresaw. Not at all. It was actually the opposite. I think it was being agile and watching. The market evolved around us. I didn't invent fractional. I saw it coming. I saw what it was doing to the marketplace, and then decided I need to be able to play in that, right? So it was more being agile, being aware of what's going around, and I think that's how. And all of a sudden, you look up from your desk one day, and you have 5,000 employees and 300 airplanes. Yeah. But that was never. It wasn't really the plan.
Sure.
And certainly, COVID was a huge change, right? I mean, COVID significantly changed how people perceived our industry and the need for what we do. two big ways, if you don't mind, the way why COVID changed. So, first of all, you would think, you might not realize it, but our competition is really the airlines. This is an expensive proposition, and it's going to cost you 7-8 times what you can do this trip for on an airline trip, right? And up until COVID, the airlines were a customer service organization. In fact, if you go way back, we had a sexy romantic time when we traveled on the airlines, right? But even pre-COVID, the airlines tried to make you happy. They wanted you to have a good experience. COVID empowered them to be policemen. Stay in your seat. Don't talk to anybody. Right?
Exactly.
And the power shifted. And they've never really come back from that. So today, flying commercial is somewhat like a mutual agreement to be imprisoned for a period of time and arrive somewhere. And so that was a huge impetus, right? And then the second one was just the safety. It brought out the huge safety concerns, not only about health, but also about the aircraft and convenience. And so that turned the tide. We had a whole group of, I call them the frugal wealthy. These are people who had fortunes, who for whatever reason wouldn't fly privately. They didn't want to spoil their kids. They didn't want their company to know they could afford to spend this kind of money. But when faced with their health or not seeing their grandkids or being so inconvenienced, they dove in the water and they haven't left.
A lot of people that watch this are subscribers to Jetset that like our content. 7, 8, 9-figure business deals are common. But when you look at what you guys did earlier this year, purchasing up to 200 planes, a $7 billion price tag, is there still a little nervousness signing that contract, or how do you get to that point?
Yeah, the true story is, my first order was $1 billion, and I was very nervous then because I wasn't really sure how I was going to pay for them all. Where the company is today, we're stronger financially, and I have much more comfort in knowing how that gets spent, and I know more about how to do the contracts in a manner. So, but still, it is, those are big numbers to commit to.
Yeah.
And I think, look, you cannot be successful in business if you don't have a certain paranoia about you. If you're not looking over your shoulder to wonder what can hurt you, what do I have to be worried about today, you're probably going to have a tough time being really successful in business.
All right, well, this has been great. I know everybody, our viewers for Jetset have enjoyed this. Best of luck with this facility.
Thank you.
Enjoy your summer.
Tom, it was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much,
for everything
Kenn.
you do for our industry.
Yeah, thank you for giving me that opportunity today. So thanks for watching, everybody. Let's load it up with comments. And man, what a fantastic conversation this was. So make sure you check out the new Flexjet facility when it opens here in Scottsdale. I'm Tom Zenner for Jetset TV.